Alright, y'all, it's me. I'm back again. Yeah, I'm back again on Labor Day. September the 1st. Happy Labor Day, by the way. So, I got the day off from work, and I'm just relaxing. I'm not really doing much, just chilling in my house. Just taking some time off, and I'm sure a lot of people are celebrating Labor Day in their own way. Doing what they do on Labor Day, and there's conventions and other stuff, and NASCAR races and everything. But anyway, aside to that, on to today's topic. This video may possibly get me a lot of flat. Some people may come at me with some of the things I have to say or whatever or whatnot. But I'm just want to know I'm giving my opinion. Plus what I've seen, what I've heard, what I've experienced, and my own knowledge and everything. But I'm talking about women. The mindset of women. Like some women nowadays, anyway. Like the way they be thinking, they be feeling, and doing things, and why they do what they do and how they act. But anyway, well, I always said this. Some people. I feel like I always say this a lot, and some people may, I don't feel like to always say something back about it or feel some type of way about it. But women, they're complicated sometimes. They're a little hard to understand sometimes. They crazy a little bit. What I mean, I'm not. And this isn't to say that men aren't crazy too. Men aren't complicated too in their own way. This is not to say. Because they are. I got my own little issues, my little problems, my own some my little complexity. And this isn't all women either. Not every. I'm not saying this applies to all women, but like my thing is like I just don't like. I'd say I would, although I think I would say as a whole like women, like in general, or like I guess, or I should say men compared to women are relatively simple. Like compared to women, they're like I guess in the ways I think women got I guess different priorities than a man. They got that's the best way to put it. Men and women are the same more or less. Of course they're people, and obviously they got physical differences. But I think, and they all want the same stuff. But I think men and women they got different priorities. Like, for a woman, what like say there's a list of things that men want like top 10 or whatever. Like number 10 for a man can be number one for a woman, and vice versa. But the thing is, like, I don't like sometimes women they talk about like what they want in a man, usually like smart, funny, treats them nice, sweet, and all this other stuff. But one there's like either you get with a guy who might be sweet or may think they're sweet, but really they a little fucked up in the head. Like they maybe beat your ass or disrespect you, or they don't really turn out to be the kind of guy you wanted or envisioned for them or whatever. Sometimes there's that, and they end up being disappointed, brokenhearted, and they just kind of stay with them, or for whatever reason they had this little fantasy about them, and now, or for whatever, or they go for the bad boy type, or whatever, or I guess to them that's their Prince Charming. I don't know, like I don't really understand. Somewhat, or and there's also the flip side where women they want a man who treats them right, but they themselves don't know how to treat a man right. It's like they nag, they nag, bitch all the time. Or there's also women who basically are, gold diggers. They just use a man for money, or to them, they feel like, to them money equals love, or they just want a man for money, just take him for the ass, and either if he ain't got no money anymore, she'll move along, dump his ass, or just keep stringing him along. Some women do act like that. It's like basically kind of like at this point, women are just basically acting like prostitutes. It's like some women, some people. I've heard someone made an argument that most women are prostitutes, which kind of a bold claim. I'm not. I am gonna I would say maybe some women they act like prostitutes. I'm not gonna say like all women, but they act like that. You could blame the situation that women are in, or how the whole system's built up or whatever. But some women be acting like that. Some particularly strippers, or of course they are like kind of like prostitutes in some way. They dance, they get naked for strangers, dance for dollars and shit like that. It's pretty much like what someone called pussy advertising. Advertising for pussy. That's basically what it is. But it's just like it's like like I'm trying to think. What do you how do you really sum this up? How do you? But okay, the women who basically do that sort of thing. It's like they're basically they I guess either they're not really right in the head. That whether like they may intentionally do it, they intentionally use a man or they think money equals love to them, and they just don't understand the situation. They don't think of anybody else but themselves. And all that other shit. And they just like to feed a man bullshit or whatever. They just kind of string them on a little bit. There's also like I guess the women who basically like they want I guess prince, I guess a guy who treats them right, but they're with a guy who, who's, not what they expect, or they just put up with him, or they just can't feel like they can't find any better. They don't want to be alone by themselves, or I guess they don't want to be, I guess trying to think, I guess independent or whatever. Well, and also on the flip side, there's the phrase about the independent woman, like this whole idea is an independent woman. How modern day feminism is just kind of pushed off in the thing where basically it's more like, to me, it's more not really necessarily, I guess, pro woman, but it's more anti man. It's like, basically bash men are stupid and don't know anything, which, there are some dumbass men out there who can't do shit. I'm not denying that there are some stupid men out there who are deadbeat dads. Leave the woman with their kids and raise them by themselves, and they go off. Some men do act like that. That's not all men though. Just like not all women are bad. There's good and bad in every set of people. It's like, but the way I'm not saying, I'm not arguing like I'm not saying, I'm not really necessarily want to demonize feminism. I'm talking like the first wave of feminism, where like back in World War II, I believe, or like around that area, like when basically women, like around the time women were for the first time were able to work, let's see, own property and vote. I'm not arguing those things. Those are great things. That's more power to them. By all means, let them do that. But now they just want to take over everything. Now it's like, they just want to, just saying, I don't need a man or whatever. They don't like, I guess the whole idea of, being, I guess, submissive, which nowadays the word being submissive has gotten like a negative connotation. That's the thing. It's not, it's not about slave, being a slave, and it's not about slave labor. It's not like, back, like way back in when the whole like slavery days in America. That's not what it is. It's about, like basically what I've heard, like being submissive. I guess is being humbly obedient. Like, trusting this man will take care of you, will make good decisions. Respecting that man, valuing him, and in turn he'll do the same for you. In turn, you submit to him, he will submit to you. It's they both, and they talk about equality. They're men and women are equal. Okay, you can't have one without the other. It's kind of a cliche thing. People say, can't live with them, can't live without them. Both men and women say that about the other. But in reality, that's just how it's meant to be. It's like woman submits to the man submits to woman. It's equal. It's not like, it's not being submissive in that sense. It's not about being a doormat. It's not saying that you can't have a mind of your own, or stand up for yourself, or speak up. That's not what it is. It's not like you're second class or anything like that. It's not like junior varsity. That's not what it is. It's about, respecting the man respecting you, y'all, and doing what y'all are supposed to do. That's how relationships are meant to be. How relationships, that's, people wonder why relationships don't work out the way they're supposed to. Well, you're not doing what you're fucking supposed to do. It's like, why divorce rates like high, like it's just like through the roof. Like, there's like old people have older couples, they've been together for like 50 plus years. They do what they're supposed to do. They know how it works. Nowadays, the younger generation and like middle-aged people, the ADD generation, my generation, divorce rates like high. Like they sometimes get married for the wrong reasons. There's that. Some marriage ain't really. In all honesty, marriage isn't what it used to be. They get married for the wrong reasons. They rush into things. That's another thing. People rush into things. Sometimes women, they're so gun ho to get married. They don't like think about anything else. They just want to be married. Have a man and raise kids and all that. Well, that's great and everything, but you sometimes you may not know what this man's really like, and you may not even have yourself figured out. Come on, like people just kind of rush into things, like, and I'm not saying I got it all figured out, and I'm not some love guru or some 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 relationship advice person. This is just giving my opinion. I don't know, may y'all can do with it what you want and everything, and say how you feel about it. This is just my opinion, basing on what I've seen, what I've heard, my personal experience, and everything. But I just to me, it's just I'm not making this one-sided. Men can have their issues too. They can be a little crazy too sometimes. I just kind of, I'm just speaking inside, mainly part of what women kind of do, how they think, their act, their emotional state. Women generally are more emotional than men, and they care more about things. They make more of a big deal about things than men do, or what men wouldn't do. They're more intuitive, so they're able to, I guess, read better or have senses or whatever. So they got, I guess, in some ways got a little more heightened senses than men do. In that little sense. And sometimes they're more emotional or whatever. They may kind of make a big deal. Sometimes men, you gotta be careful. Sometimes a woman may have you walk on eggshells for a while, and sometimes one hand, sometimes you may have to tough that shit out, but the other time, women, you need to like calm down a little bit, and not make a big deal. And dudes, you can't be begging all the time. Nobody wants to deal with that. Like sometimes women can be a little crazy. They may have depressive, and have depression, bipolar. It's just blaming the man for all their problems and everything. Sometimes men can do it to women and everything and all that, or they just got like mental issues. I mean, if you're like that, you need to take some medication, see a doctor or something. But although maybe if you really want help, turn to God, pray, read the Bible, pray, I mean, now console with God. I mean, that's the answer. That's my answer. I think that's the best answer. God and prayer. Because God, he knows yourself better than you do. I mean, I mean, nothing's hidden to him. He sees your heart. He sees your hearts and your desires, and he's the ultimate healer. It's God. The answer is God. God and prayer. Ultimately. I mean, no. I mean, I don't think any. I mean, you could take some medication. You could probably do that. But one, you could get hooked on it, and two, it may not do any good. So that's I'm not necessarily knocking it, but I'd say, and I'd say there's only so much. One, there's only so much medication can do, and two, you could probably become addicted to it, and yeah. There's also that addiction. You may have an addiction problem. You may have a whole other problem. Like on top of it. So, but it's. I mean, like, that's. I mean, I don't know if there's anything else I can really say. I mean, this is just what I'm thinking. This is just my little theories, what I've seen. Y'all, I'm sure y'all. Some people might trip over it and might feel some type of way about it, but this is just my opinion. I'm just saying. And this isn't like I'm not saying this is all women per se, and I'm not making this a one-sided thing either. Men can act this way too. When I talk about things like this, I try to look at it from both sides. I'm not trying to be unfair or judgmental or anything. I don't want to come across as that, but I mean, this is just my opinion. I'm just giving my take, my opinion again. Yeah, but yeah, So, but y'all can let me know what y'all think, and and subscribe to my channel, leave comments. I'm sure some people may have something to say about this, but but yeah, but that's all I want to say, and I'll see you all soon. Happy Labor Day. Bye.